It's time to meet Clifton.
With your host, Ray Grabowski.
Here's Ray.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome once again to Meet Clifton, where your hometown is on display. I'm Ray, and this is my co-host, George Silva.
How you
How's it
doing
going,
tonight,
George?
Ray? Main thing, I just want to let everybody know out there in TV land, give you a call, the next door neighbors, make sure they're okay. It's very hot outside, so please give them a call or knock on the door and see if they need any help.
Right, well, that's a good point, George, and we all have to stay hydrated, but I'm glad you're doing well. Well, tonight is our last episode before we hit the year mark, so we hope you look forward to our special anniversary episode in August. But first, we have 3 great guests to showcase for you. So I'm going to turn it over to the Two Tones, and we'll get started. Take it away, guys.
Tonight's Meet Clifton guests are AARP Tax Aid Site Coordinator Tom Lowe, longtime director of the Clifton Community Band Bob Morgan, Passaic County Volunteer SHIP Program Counselor Mike Cervine, with music once again by the Two Tones. All this on Meet Clifton.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us tonight. Our first guest is a volunteer who assists with the annual task of filing our taxes. As part of the AARP Tax Aid Program, millions of low to moderate income taxpayers, particularly those 60 years or older, can file their taxes with a sense of security. Please help me welcome Mr. Tom Lowe.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in tonight, Tom. You know, can you tell us a little bit about the tax aid program for the people so they can understand what we're going to talk about?
Well, the tax aid program in Clifton has been running now for about 16 years. The program itself is national. There are 5,000 sites nationally. There are about 35,000 volunteers who are participating.
Right.
And last year we did about 2.8 million returns
Wow.
nationwide.
So what kind of tax returns do you do? You know, you don't do corporate things. These are for, you know, regular citizens.
Right. We basically do all 1040 forms. We do all A, B, C, and D schedules. We do educational credits, earned income tax credits. We do brokerage statements. Basically, your basic tax return. There are very few things that we don't do,
Right.
actually.
Right. We don't expect a big corporation to come to you and want this
No.
done because this
No.
is a free
Right.
site, or you do this for free
Right.
for the people. So
Well,
hopefully
the
it's
people
people that need
who
it.
participate in the program on my end are all volunteers, and they
Right.
all give their time.
Right.
People who come in don't pay anything.
Right. And that's what we want the people at home to understand. Now, we're talking about Clifton basically. So how active is our Clifton site?
Well, Clifton generally is one of our larger sites in the county.
Right.
Last year we did about 240 returns,
Okay.
and that's been true pretty much for the last 10 years or so.
Right.
And I do want to thank the library board here, who has allowed us to use the Allwood Library and the main library as
Right.
our location site.
Okay. Now we're talking AARP. Now, is this available to only AARP members?
No, the tax service that we supply is open to anyone.
Right.
We specialize in low and moderate income individuals. We try to spend extra time with our senior citizens, 60 and above, but in general, anybody who needs their taxes done, who has a low or moderate income, will do their taxes.
Okay. George,
I have a
think you had a
question for you,
question.
Tom. What about the volunteers? Is only Clifton residents, or can we go outside of Clifton and let them volunteer for you?
No, we can take volunteers from anywhere. It would be easiest if we had people who live close to Clifton,
Right,
because we do have Mondays and Thursdays at the Allwood Library is where we work, and we usually do Mondays and Thursdays, and it runs from generally February 1st to April 15th.
And the time?
We're,
Like 10 all day
we
long?
run from
or
10 to 2, but we're usually there till 4 or 4:30.
appointments?
Yes, we invite people. We don't take appointments by phone, but we do invite people to come in, make an appointment. We'll go over their basic tax needs, and we'll know how much time it takes to do the return. And if they set an appointment, we'll give them a time and date where we'll do the return. They won't have to sit and wait.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Tom, before the show, we were talking about volunteers, and volunteers are a big thing. And you were saying that you may have a shortage of volunteers now.
Well, we've
How critical is this?
it's quite critical. Over the years, we've had 7 volunteers at our Clifton site. We've had 6 counselors and a client facilitator who basically meets and greets people, sets up appointments, makes sure they have the proper paperwork, okay? The other 6 counselors actually do returns. And of those 7 volunteers, we're losing 5
Wow.
for next season, so we only have 2 counselors left.
Right.
And we are desperately seeking new people to join us as counselors or as a client facilitator so that we can continue the program. Without new volunteers, decisions will have to be made as to which sites to keep open, which sites to close, and hopefully Clifton won't be one of them.
No, and we wouldn't want it to be. And so this is kind of like a plea for, we're actually, Tom's looking for volunteers. So let's say someone's watching, they want to get involved. What's the next step?
Okay. Generally speaking, the best place to go is to aarp.org/taxaid. And there'll be information there on who to call or how to contact people at the AARP to indicate that they're interested. If they call, I would appreciate it if they let the people know that they're interested in working at the Clifton site,
Right.
if possible.
Yeah, because this show, we're basically trying to focus on Clifton,
Right.
and we want to help the Clifton people. And this is, so we get a volunteer. Do you supply the training for them?
Yes, the counselors generally will get someplace between 30 and 35 hours of training. They will be, the training takes place at the Hawthorne Library.
Okay.
It basically runs through the month of November and early December. Each volunteer will be given a lot of written material. They'll have a lot of software training, and each new volunteer will have a mentor who takes them through the entire training process,
Right.
so that they have somebody to ask questions of and get answers.
Okay, so basically, and it's sort of in conclusion, what kind of person are you actually looking for to do this?
Well,
Age-wise and,
there are no particular requirements. We are looking for people who are willing to commit some time.
Right.
Probably people who are retired or not working at the present time, because we are open 2 days a week from
Right.
10 to 2:30 or so, and we don't have any night or Saturday hours, but we're looking for those type of people. We're looking for people who are compassionate and friendly and want to give back to their community and help other people.
Okay.
They will also learn a great deal. We have a great crew in Clifton and throughout Passaic County. Everybody is helpful to everybody else, and we've had a lot of thank yous from a lot of people who we've helped over the years.
Okay, so this is important. We don't want to see the Clifton site have to close. Volunteering is a very big thing, and you should help other people. And Tom and I spoke, sometimes it's time to give back to your neighbors in your community. So if anyone out there is interested in volunteering, please contact Tom. We'll give the site at the end of the show. Tom, I'd like to thank you for coming on.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's a lot of information. We
Okay.
appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Gypsy woman told my mother on the day I was born, said you got a boy child coming, gonna be a son of a gun. Gonna take pretty women, leave me by my hand, the whole wide world gonna know I'm the hoochie coochie man because I'm here. Everybody knows I'm here.
Welcome back to the show. It's currently summertime, and what better way to spend time with family and friends than by spending time outdoors listening to music? Here in Clifton, we have all sorts of musical talent on display. Every summer and even in the winter as well. But who is the man behind the music, and what is his story? Let's put our hands together for Clifton's Community Band Director, Mr. Bob Morgan.
Thanks, Bob, for coming.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. I just have a question before you even start this. Most people at home, if they're watching, probably know Mr. Morgan. How long were you the band director for this high school?
42 years.
And I can relate that because I remember I was a senior and you came in a year or two later. So, I know we both served under Mr. Saul Kay
Oh, yeah.
as the band director.
Yeah.
But now we want to talk about the community band, and that's relatively your baby. So how did it get started?
Well, about 16 years ago, the Clifton Education Foundation needed a fundraiser. And they approached the elementary music teachers to say, hey, would you put on a little concert for us? And the elementary guys said, no, we can't do it, we can't do it. And the foundation said, well, you know, we really didn't want to bother the high school because they're doing everything all the time anyway. But one of the guys on the foundation, Bob Shack, who was a good friend of mine,
Hey, Mr. Shack.
he came to me and said, hey, you know, you think this is a story, could you do something? And of course he collared me when we had, in the presence of a principal, that was Frank Malia at the time, and he and I had been talking about doing some kind of an intergenerational program, because at that time there was the after-school adult school for senior citizens and whatnot. So when Bob kind of collared me in presence of the principal, we said, aha, this could be something that we could do. We could incorporate kids, the 8th graders, we could use the high school band as a nucleus, and then invite anybody else from town in to do this. So we worked on it a couple weeks and ended up pulling in alumni from the high school band, and we had a few of the old timers from town that came and played, and we had some 8th graders. So we did, I think, 3 rehearsals, and then we did a concert, and it was a smashing success. Education Foundation did okay, and you know, the alumni that came back said, hey, you know, that was kind of fun. How about could we keep doing this? So I said, well, yeah, why not? We could give it a shot. So they organized an alumni association.
Right.
And then we organized in the fall, and we met once a month to rehearse, and then we had plans to do, you know, maybe a concert or 2 during the year. Well, as we kept going and going, the guys in the band said, hey, this is all right. How about we do it more than once a month? How about maybe once a week? So we ended up meeting once a week, and we put on Lollipops 2. That's what we called the concert for the old timers and the kiddies and whatnot. It was Lollipops and Roses. So we did Lollipops 2, and then all of a sudden we were contacted by the Congress Hall Inn down in Cape May.
Oh, right. I know that.
And they wanted us for the 4th of July. So we said, hey, okay, but we can't do it for nothing. So they picked up the price of a bus, they picked up the price for a truck rental, and they picked up a meal for us.
Right, which is nice.
So it was a nice, you know, outing. We played down there on 4th of July out on their lawn. Super successful.
Right.
Got invited back for the next year. But during that time, we had a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Like, what are we going to call ourselves? Clifton Mustang Alumni Community Band.
'Cause it's
blah,
more than
it was
alumni,
just
right.
too much, you know. So we decided, hey, let's just call it the Clifton Community Band.
Right.
And we had some great help from Gloria Kaloje
Okay.
and Marin Zaldi. And they were able to, they were instrumental in getting us connected with the recreation department. So we had an official sponsor.
Right. And now I know you do a lot of community events now.
Yeah, and that's where we got really rolling. And of course, since we are now the official community band, they said, hey, you know, we do fireworks, you guys should come and play the fireworks.
Right.
So we've played the fireworks. And we do our annual Lollipops concert. We've expanded. We play at Christmas time or holiday time. We do the first Saturday in December. We do our annual concert.
Right.
And then the bulk of our season is during the summer, where we do the fireworks. We play over here at the Art Barn on City Hall. And then we picked up the Sunday concert series down at Maine Memorial. And 2-3 years ago, we were invited by the Historical Society to play up at Lambert's Castle.
Okay.
So, you know, May, June, July, we're pretty busy.
Well, and just for people watching at home, this is strictly volunteer, right?
Oh, yeah.
The musicians all volunteer.
Yeah, all the musicians
And are they all from
volunteer.
Clifton? Are they all from Clifton?
99%.
Okay.
Some of them were Clifton people and have moved out.
Right.
But a lot are alumni of the band, the high school band.
But they're all-
We've got other folks that live in the community that come and play.
But in essence, they're professional musicians. They read charts.
Oh, yeah,
for the
yeah,
most part.
they're
It's just
all-
not anybody
yeah.
who picks up an instrument.
Well-
I imagine there's some kind of qualification to get in. You have to be able to.
Well, we want people, we accept kids from 8th grade up, and any adult who can read, they can come. We meet on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you.
At 7 o'clock at the high school.
Okay.
And there, you know, the Board of Ed has been very helpful with us because we were able to borrow their big instruments, you know, percussion stuff. And when I was director, maybe we would loan out a couple of the bigger brass instruments, but most everybody has their own horns now. You know, we had instruments, music,
Right.
and the place to rehearse, the high school band room. So, you know, we've had help from the Board of Ed.
Right.
We've, you know, and
No,
it works very well.
You know, once again, here's another great example of people that volunteer in Clifton. There's a lot of volunteers for these things. These people work really hard. Rehearsals, I know Mr. Morgan works really hard with them, and we appreciate it because we always see that the community band is playing somewhere. I know the next one we could possibly see you is around Christmas time when you start your season again.
Right.
If you have any questions, please contact Mr. Morgan and call us at the station. You can get Debbie Oliver with your recreation, always puts it out.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Morgan, I appreciate it. Explain it to
You
us.
bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the updates. On July 26th, Wednesday, the Clifton Art Center will have the Clifton Centennial Creations by the Boys and Girls Club of Clifton, the Early Childhood Department, and there'll be a gala reception for the public from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday, July 26th, so please attend that. Then the Theater League of Clifton will sponsor their musical fundraiser at Mario's. It's the Thos Shipley Tribute to Great Jazz Nat King Cole, and that's on Saturday, August 19th and Sunday, August 20th. And again, the tickets are at $45 a person, includes a hot and cold buffet with wine, beer, and soda, so please attend that. They will have the trio playing at Mario's. Then on Sunday, September 10th, the Clifton Boys and Girls Club will be hosting their car, truck, and motorcycle show at the Allwood Atrium, and that's at 2 Brighton Road in Clifton. And there'll be food, drinks, prizes, a DJ, and lots of different trucks and cars and motorcycles that you can review and enjoy a day outside.
Hi everyone. So upcoming, the Clifton Health Department will be having 2 free screenings. One is the vascular ultrasound screening, Tuesday, July 25th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Also, there will be a free hearing screening Thursday, August 3rd from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Both will be at the Clifton Health Department that's located on the 2nd floor of City Hall. Registration is required for both, so please call the Health Department at 973-470-5760. And also, the Veggie Mobile will be at Clifton City Hall every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and that'll run through the summer and all the way through November 15th. So please stop by when you get a chance.
As always, your participation is greatly appreciated, so hopefully we'll see you at some of these events. Thank you.
Thank you for those updates. As always, please support these wonderful causes if you are able to. Our next guest this evening provides counseling to seniors who do not understand or have questions about the Medicare system. Please help me welcome Mike Cervine, Passaic County SHIP Counselor.
Thanks for coming, Mike.
Ray, how are you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just introduced you as a SHIP Counselor, so I'm sure that's an acronym for something. So if you could explain what
Yes, it is.
SHIP stands for.
SHIP is stands for State Health Insurance Assistance Program. When Medicare was created back in 1966, they always provided help to seniors
Right.
because it is, quite frankly, a very confusing system. But unfortunately, we're just not very well known.
Okay.
But we provide free counseling information and training to seniors on the Medicare system.
So Medicare is pretty complicated then.
It is very complex. There are many, many decisions for people to make.
Right. Let me just ask you, what kind of questions would someone come to you with?
They would come to us with all kinds of questions. They may have questions on how to do an appeal, or whether they should get a Medicare Advantage plan, or whether they should get a secondary supplementary
Right,
or
I was going to say,
Medicare
they can
plan.
ask you that.
Absolutely.
Because Medicare covers so much. And then I think if you can't afford it, a supplemental is recommended, I would think, right?
It depends on the situation at a particular
Right.
time. Each individual situation is different.
Okay. So now you're the counselor. Is there certain training you have to go through to be a counselor?
Absolutely. There's some 30 hours of training taken. It's usually done over 5 days, after which is a comprehensive test that has to be done. And there are 2 annual updates every year that we have to attend, bringing us up to date with all the changes in the Medicare system.
Okay. And I just want to point out again, because the whole show has been about volunteers. Mike volunteers for this. It's strictly volunteer. And here's another great example of a Clifton person volunteering. Are there other people from town that volunteer for this?
Yes, there are. I have one other person, I myself and one other person work out of the senior center itself. There's a third person that works out of one of the senior housing complexes here in town. There are 15 counselors here in Passaic County and close to 500 within the state of New Jersey. Every county has SHIP counselors.
Okay. And I know we just went through this, but what other problems can a SHIP counselor help you with?
Again, they can help you with making decisions. Probably one of the biggest ones is making decisions on what kind of a Part D plan. A Part D plan is a drug plan for the year.
Right.
All right. And one of the biggest mistakes that most people make is they keep the same drug plan year after year, not realizing that the insurance companies change their formularies. That's the list of drugs that they support.
Right.
And the costs of those things. And so I've had people, I kid you not, that have come to me and have saved over $1,000 a year by changing the plan.
Okay. George, I have a question.
Mike, I got a question for you. Why would I go to SHIP and not an insurance company?
Well, insurance companies provide good information to you, but we provide unbiased information. As a matter of fact, to answer Ray's question the way before, if someone comes to me and says, should I buy a Medicare Advantage plan or should I buy a supplemental Medigap plan? I'm going to say, I can't answer that question for you. I can tell you the advantages and disadvantages of both.
Okay.
I can tell you everything about it. They ask me, and they have many times, what do you have? That's not relevant. That's for me. You have to make the decision. I can't lead you one way or another. I'm going to provide you the information. You have to make the decision.
And obviously an agent would probably try to sell, yeah.
There's usually a financial interest in it.
Right, and you're going to give them the option for
Up
their
to them.
particular lifestyle, I would
Absolutely,
assume.
absolutely.
No, and that's important. So someone on Medicare beneficiary, how do they find the SHIP counselor?
Well, here in town, basically what you do is you want to call the senior center at 973-470-2234 and tell them you want to talk to a SHIP counselor. Myself and Mary Jane work 2 days. Usually I take 2 days a week, she takes 2, and the third day is an option we can toss up, and we usually allow about an hour per person.
Okay, how big is the program in Clifton?
It's pretty big. We're pretty busy all the time. I mean, the summertime is a low season. It gets much busier in the fall when the open enrollment season happens. But we're busy most of the time. I probably have 2 or 3 people every week that I'm dealing, and she probably has 2 or 3 also.
Right. Would you welcome more volunteers if someone was trained, or is it something that you might want to look for?
Yeah, we would love to have, the SHIP program would love to have more volunteers, but the idea is it does take some effort because, again, it is 5 days worth of training.
Right.
And it's only offered usually twice a year, once in North Jersey and once in South Jersey. So it's a little difficult for people to get to. And it does take a concerted effort. Take some
So someone was
it's
interested,
constant
they were
training.
contacted through the senior.
Yeah, you can contact through any of us, and we
Senior
can make them in
center, yeah.
contact with our coordinator in Passaic County.
Right,
Yes.
and you know, this is important because I'm getting near Medicare age, and it is important, a supplemental, because you want to know that you're covered. You know, maybe Medicare covers your condition, but I'd like to know what's available. And this is a question I'm going to come and ask you anyhow.
Okay, here's
because it's important.
I'm glad you asked that question, because one of the things comes into is so often statistics have also been quoted that 10,000 people a day are turning 65.
Right.
There's a lot of us baby boomers that are there. I'm on the early end of that. As a result, I'm doing something a little different here in Clifton than most of our counselors do. I run a course in the Clifton Senior Center every October and every April that runs through basically this book, which goes to everyone in Medicare, Medicare and You. And it goes through in detail everything about Medicare, Parts A, B, Medigap plans, Medicare Advantage plans, Part D. We go through all the details slowly. We do it once in the afternoon and once again in the evening for the people that are still working. I've had many, many people and very, very positive results from that. So
Yeah, and that's important to know. And I guess maybe the last question I want to ask you is, what's the most common Medicare mistake?
as I mentioned before, the most common one over there is not choosing a new Part D, not reviewing your medications and finding a new Part D plan every year, because those plans change all the time and the costs can be absolutely phenomenal if you're not careful. But I've had people have changed plans every year and they're very, very happy with that. Like I said, it's not unusual for people to save several hundred a year, even $1,000 a year on those plans just by changing them.
Okay, well, I appreciate you explaining this to people. I think you're probably going to get a lot of calls because this is very important, especially to us reaching this age, or even people that are on it already would have questions. So if for some reason, you could contact Mike, or like you said, go through the Senior Center in
please
Clifton. We appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much. It was
Thank you,
great
Ray.
information.
Thank you.
If I search this whole wide world, I'd never, never, never find me a girl who would love me, who could love me the way that you do. You put the shama-lama in my rama-lama ding-dong. You put the ooh-la-la back into my smile jar. That is why, that is why, that is why, that is why you are my shoo-be-doo-be-doo.
Thanks for tuning in this week, and that'll do it for our first year here on the Clifton Channel. We've had a lot of fun coming into your homes and introducing you to some of the Clifton's brightest, cheeriest, and hardest working people. The entire Meet Clifton family wishes you a happy summer, and we will see you in a few weeks. Thanks to our guests Tom Lowe, Bob Morgan, and Mike Cervine for joining us, and thanks to everyone here for making this show such a success. Until next time, be good to your friends and family, respect your neighbors, keep Clifton close to your heart. This is a great city. Thank you, God bless, and good night.